TFA fam. Week 1, baby. Prop talk. It's all back. It's all happening. It's going to be glorious. Thomas was very happy whenever you hit me up and said, are we going to do prop talk this year? Yes, we are. Here we are, man.
I came out of hibernation. We're all set. We're going to start with heaters in week 1, and we're just going to fucking go from there. Oh, wait, I shouldn't have cursed. Go ahead.
Well, hey, it's all right. We'll ease into it. We'll be all right.
All right.
All right. Thomas, you're speaking of heaters, you are currently on a heater, so let's just jump into this, man. Why don't you lead us off with your first prop of NFL Week 1?
Yeah, we're going Devon A-Chain over 52.5 rushing yards. I mean, do you really even know me if you think I didn't? I wasn't going to take A-Chain in a prop bet in week 1. I mean, he's ready to roll. Offense ready to roll. Most efficient running back in football last year. The only question is health. If you think he can make it through game 1, you take this bet. That's essentially what you're betting on. Him not getting hurt in the very first game. Because he could hit the 52.5 yards on the first series, on the first play, whatever. I'm sure if you're watching this, you've heard all the cases for A-Chain to make a jump into that elite tier of running back based on his projected usage and efficiency from the previous season and how they do their second year. I'm not going to get in on all that, but I am betting on that, especially in week 1. A-Chain to the fucking moon.
Yeah, love A-Chain this year. Like you said, as long as he stays healthy, going up against this defense, this is one of my favorite games just of the week in general. Yeah. I think this one's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of a game that, on the flip side of that, a game that's probably not going to be as fun, but a prop I feel pretty good about is Jaleel McLaughlin over 13.5 receiving yards. He covered this 6 times last year, including 4 of his final 5 games. Samaje Perine is now out of the picture. He ran almost 300 routes last year, had 50 catches on 56 targets. The Broncos are 6-point dogs in this one as well. So McLaughlin should see the field enough to cover this one here for us. Especially with the first season, like there's normally not a ton you can look at for 2023. And like, at least I try not to do that because so much shit changes, but especially here with the Seahawks. But if you look at Mike McDonald's defenses for the past 2 years with the Ravens, they were in both years for 2022 and 2023. Those defenses were both in the top 10 in terms of receptions allowed to running backs. So not apples to apples by any means, but like I said, with the line here, with them being 6-point underdogs, I don't think Javonte Williams is going to see a ton of receiving work. And I think that, like I said, with the fact that Samaje Perine being gone, they don't have a lot behind Jaleel McLaughlin either. So I think he sees enough to get over this 13.5.
Yeah, Perine being out is huge for McLaughlin. You have a rookie quarterback. You have game script. It all just kind of lines up for him to do that. It's funny because it's not the sexiest thing in the world, but he'll probably wind up with like 30 or 40 receiving yards and like 6 catches. A Zay Flowers kind of a dot with 1 yard down the field. Let's not do that, guys, please. Let's just throw the ball down the field a little bit, especially if we're a wide receiver. Yes, Kevin, I am back. Can't wait to see you. Pop on if you get a chance. So we can talk lovely things. My next one is James, the Cookie Monster, Cook over 61.5 rushing yards. I got him a little bit under that, I think, earlier in the week. The way the season ended with Joe Brady calling plays is all the case you really need to make. He made him into a bell cow. Their offense made a clear shift after moving on from Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. This team should be imposing their will on people. I won't ever feel comfortable betting James Cook touchdown. Never. Just because Josh Allen's going to take them all. But he's going to get his carries in the system. He's going to get his yards. And he's incredibly efficient what he does. So I expect the offense to look a little more what Kansas City kind of morphed into without Tyreek until Rashee Rice kind of made that leap last year and they could throw the ball a little bit more down the field. I like Keon Coleman. I like him a lot, but it's still going to be growing pains because it's a rookie. So I feel like they're going to lean on that run game because they can. And it'll be death by 1,000 cuts, and James Cook is holding a goddamn machete ready to just cut you up.
Love that. I from that same game, I also like Josh Allen's rushing yards. You can get it at 31 and a half in a couple places. I think it's sitting at 33 and a half on DK right now. But I like that one as well. Just with I mean that Cardinals defense is going to be rough all year. They have no pass rush. So I think like you were saying, I like a lot of the pieces they have in terms of that receiving game, but I just don't know how it's going to work at first. So
Early,
I think,
especially early. It
yeah.
could turn into something really good down the stretch, week 7, week 8, when they kind of just establish their roles. But early on, they should lean on the run game, and they've got a good defense, and just go from there. And they're going to be able to win games.
On to my second pick for the week. I am taking Antonio Gibson under 19 and a half rushing yards. This offensive line for the Patriots looks like it's going to be one of the worst units across the entire NFL. The Pats are 7.5-point dogs. The Bengals have a really solid front seven. And Gibson went over this line 3 times last year in a similar-ish situation, and he popped up on the injury report on Thursday. He got him back-to-back limited practices, so I'm assuming he's going to go here. But I can't imagine he's going to get a ton of playing time, and when he does, I think it's going to be more in like the catching up and on pass down work. I don't really see him going over 19 and a half yards here. The only thing that like potentially worries me is if like the Pats run some like bullshit draw like late in the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he gets over that way. But other than that, I don't see him going over 19 and a half on this one on the ground anyway. His receiving stuff, if you want to look at that, look toward that direction. That's a whole different conversation. But in terms of the running game, I'm going under 19 and a half.
Yeah, no, I like that. The receiving option for Gibson is much more palatable there. Next one, we're going Nico Collins over 68.5 receiving yards. I got it a couple days ago at 66.5, so it's moving up. Let's just go over Nico's games against the Colts last year really quick. Week 2, 7, 146 and 1. Week 18, 9, 195 and 1. I mean, sometimes players just own other teams. They just own other teams. Sure, the Texans went out, got Diggs, added Mixon. They're also getting Tank Dell back. All good things for the offense. That being said, Nico is something Tank and Diggs do not have size. They have size. 6'4", 220 pounds. He's a unicorn. Diggs is 6 foot. Tank is 5'8". The Colts have some size. At corner. I think they got 6'2" and 6'3" of their 2 starting quarters. But let's just face it, some guys just kill teams, and Nico's a cold killer. Side note, this is one of my favorite games of the week. It's going to be a fun one to watch with JT, A-Rich getting out there against the Texan team. It's going to be a burner. I have no idea who's going to win the game. I'm taking the over. That would be my play. So, you say put your house in the Colts. I'm not putting my house on anything. I'll put my house in the over and Nico, but that's about it.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun matchups this week, and that is definitely going to be one of them. I'm just excited to see how that passing attack is going to pan out. But I like you said, between the Colts running their offense at a high clip in terms of plays per game, I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities for Nico to go over there. For my final official pick of the week, going to turn my attention to another one of the fun games of the weekend. That's going to be the Rams and Lions. I'm taking Amon-Ra over 83.5 receiving yards. Through last year, there was only 6 games, including the playoffs, where the sun god didn't hit this line. He was also playing through a major injury. If you watched the receiver show on Netflix, which was awesome, by the way, There's been talk this offseason of Jameson Williams taking that next step forward. But even if he does, he's not going to be a volume receiver, in my opinion. And I think that would actually be a good thing if Jameson Williams becomes more integrated in this offense. I think it's going to only open things up for Amon-Ra underneath to help him out there. Laporta is healthy now. He got in full practices this week, but he missed a big chunk of the offseason with an injury. So he might be a little bit slower getting up to speed and getting up to, actual game shape here. But with this total sitting at 52, the spread's only sitting at 4.5. Goff's total sitting at 270.5. This is setting up to be a shootout on Sunday night, and the Sun God is going to get his.
And let's not discount Jared Goff indoors is a completely different quarterback.
Yes. Indoors, at home.
Right.
Check
and I believe
boxes.
Jared Goff, he has 13 out of his 16 games indoors. So that's good.
Yeah, something crazy like that.
Yeah, so I got a couple more. This is probably my last official, although I don't know. Maybe, who knows? Evan Ingram over 43.5 receiving yards. So I'm going back to that Miami Jacksonville game. Ingram ended the season as a monster tight end. I expect that to continue early on as Trevor Lawrence kind of gets acclimated to Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis. Trevor Lawrence likes to take a lot of deep shots. He did with Calvin Ridley, just couldn't connect with him. So I expect Ingram to own the middle of that field. His reception total at 4.5 also looks really juicy. I expect Miami to get a lead here in what could be a shootout, so the script should also be in Ingram's favor. One thing to take into account, this game is in Miami, and the sun is on the opposing sideline. So you see those guys getting heat cramps and falling out. So I think Miami is going to win that game just partially due to the heat. Even though they're from Florida, it doesn't really matter. You want me to go with my my last couple, or do you have any other ones to add?
No, man, go ahead, fire through.
All right. Whenever I can bet Mike Evans to score a touchdown against Washington, I'm gonna do it.
Like that call.
Yeah. Emmanuel Forbes isn't going to be able to cover him. We saw what happened with A.J. Brown last year. A.J. Brown literally made the man cry. Washington loves playing cover one. That's where Mike Evans just absolutely eats. You give him single high safety and you give me money. So I also like his yards. I like the touchdown a little bit more. First touchdowns, I got a few risk-free bets. I took A-Chain set plus 700, Nico plus 1,100, and one other one I really like, but the odds are just shit right now. Malik Neighbors at 4.5 catches is either at minus 160 or minus 170. So that's probably going to move up to 5.5. Because it's week one, a lot of us have boosts, like 33% boost, 50% boost to move things up. I used a 33% boost to move him up to minus 121. So now I'm looking at a $50 bet at minus 121 as opposed to, I'll be getting like 89 as opposed to getting like $31 after all said and done. So just kind of look at some of those. If you have some of those odd boosts, don't always just swing for the fences with them. If you could win $40, it's $40 you get to bet next week and not get yelled at by your wife. So bet responsibly, gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean that's one of my favorite things to do, honestly, is like use those boosts and like throw together like an alt line with with some lower totals that
Right.
I mean, as a parlay comes out to let's say like minus 150 or whatever, then you throw the boost on it and you're getting closer to like even money at least. So that's one of my favorite things to do there. Just some other ones that I have taken already, and if you are not yet in the Discord, we'll definitely be dropping more of these bets into the Discord as well. It's free. There's no strings attached, anything like that. It just happens every year, every week where we are talking on this show, and then all of a sudden we go through and we're like, oh, actually, I really like this one too. So you can always find our
Yeah.
bets over there on the Discord. Like I said, no strings attached. We're not trying to get you behind a paywall or anything like that. James Conner over 51.5 rushing yards. I do think that they keep that game close. The only reason why I didn't throw this out as a quote unquote official pick is because 51.5 was only available on Bet365. And I know that is not a common book for a lot of people. That was up to 54.5 and 55.5 on FanDuel and DraftKings. I can't remember which one. So that's why I didn't throw that one out. And then I also have Kenneth Walker over 15.5 rush attempts. That one is a little less enticing. I think it's at minus 135 now. But that is another one I like. Zach Charbonnet banged up through a lot of the offseason. Like I said, with the Jaleel McLaughlin pick, the Seahawks are 6.5-point favorites. So should be in a position there to run the rock. So like that one as well.
Yeah. I had a couple more. I didn't really get to get in the weeds yet, so to speak. So I'll put them in the Discord if I do wind up placing them. Brian Robinson over 9.5 receiving yards. I think I like that. Brian Robinson over 42.5 rushing yards. Not sure about that yet. Breece Hall over 26.5 receiving yards. That's an interesting one. Colts over. I already talked about that. CeeDee Lamb over 79.5. I think he's moved up to 81 already. And Deontay Johnson over catches. He should get fed. I think he's at 5.5. And then one that jumped out at me at first, and then I kind of talked myself out of it a little bit because I'm not sure, is Chuba Hubbard over 54.5 rushing yards, just because of the game script. I don't know. So that's an intriguing one if you want to go under there, but he's going to get bell cow work because that's what he does when he's available to do it. They just trust him there. And Canales did the same thing with Rachaad White. So that's an intriguing one. I think I'm going to wait a week to see how Chuba kind of plays out, but I like the Deontay Johnson receptions one a lot more than the Hubbard rushing yards one.
And on DK anyway, Deontay Johnson is at 4.5. So I love that. It was I switched over to see what Chuba's lines were, but it was like minus 125. Like it wasn't really juiced either. So I really like that one. Appreciate you for bringing that to our attention. I was just looking Chuba Hubbard's rushing attempts is at 14.5. Like you said, Canales was talking all offseason about proving to everyone how stubborn he can be with running the ball. Obviously, he gave Rachaad White a shit ton of carries as well. I don't think this game gets I don't think this game gets out of hand to where the Panthers aren't going to be able to run the ball either. So instead of, if you don't want to look at at his rushing line, the 14.5 on attempts is interesting.
Yeah. But Deontay to the moon. I'm gonna do it live.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna throw that one in as well. We did have a couple of questions I went through and answered them, but I'm curious to get your thoughts, especially on this one from Michael, who put this in at the beginning of the chat. Pick 2, DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, or Marvin Harrison Jr. in a full PPR.
DJ Moore, DK, or Marvin?
Yeah, but need to sit one.
I'm starting DJ. And Seattle plays against who? I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
Broncos. Denver.
Yeah, he just got that deal. I'm gonna go. No, I can't go Marv. I'm gonna go DK. As much as I want to go Marvin Harrison, I can't do it. I really want to.
Aaron Rodgers.
Do you think? Huh?
What?
I was gonna say, do you think Surtain shadows him?
I think so. Yeah.
Then I might go Marv.
But I think with the new coordinator, he's gonna move them around. I can't imagine he just shoves DK on one side of the field and forces him to run against Pat the whole time.
Right, but if he's shadowing, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I feel like with
I'm
with emotions and stuff, I think he can.
yeah, I'm still taking DK. I'm doing DJ and DK.
Aaron Rodgers or Danny Dimes if you're getting a half point per carry.
I'm going Rodgers.
And then Alexis here, first year in a survivor pool, Vikings or Seahawks. Vikings riskier, but I won't pick them again this year anyways.
Oh, I don't like it when I would take the Tampa. I don't like it when you get risky in week 1 with your survivor pool. It's okay to go somewhat chalk, and that's not necessarily chalk. But like I wouldn't take the Cowboys this week because they're playing the Browns. But I
feel like
just
there's not a lot of great survivor picks this week because the ones you feel comfortable with are like the heavy favorites, right?
right.
The Vikings kind of worry me because they're short road favorites. Like those situations always kind of worry me. Like, would it really surprise you if the Giants won that game? Like, it wouldn't surprise me. So I would go.
You got Sam Darnold.
I would go with the Seahawks on this one.
What about the Bengals?
I don't want to use the Bengals already. They have their schedule this year is pretty nice. I wouldn't want to use them already.
What about Tampa?
Yeah, but it would surprise you if Tampa lost that game.
No, it wouldn't surprise me if Seahawks lost that game either.
I know that's what I'm saying. This week, outside of like just like the overwhelming favorites, like I don't love this week for survivor picks, but like I don't know if the Seahawks cover the spread, but like so as long as your survivor pool isn't based on that, I think I would still go Seahawks because I think you have the rookie quarterback going up against a Mike McDonald defense who's going to be calling the plays for that defense as well. They have Witherspoon, they have Tariq Woolen. Their front seven is solid enough. I think they get after Bo Nix in that first game. So I would go Seahawks.
Yeah, I would still go Bengals just to be safe. I don't want to be the guy that gets knocked out in week 1. I just don't want to be that guy. I ain't that guy, bub. MGM has Deontay Johnson at minus 110 for 4.5 catches. So that's a little bit cheaper at minus 125 over at DK. A promo? What's this? I love it when just random promos pop up. Isn't it just great? You're like, what? A $25 free bet.
I got one of those from ESPN because I pulled all my money from there earlier in the year, and I just have not been logging in. I was like, oh, okay.
Dude, I went to ESPN Bet, and I was like, all right, let's try this out. And their odds for like first touchdown and everything are like 200 to 300 less than every other site.
It's not a great sports book.
No, it's not. Not one bit. And MGM and DraftKings have their issues, but at the same time, I trust them a little bit more. Except when DeMar Hamlin died and they stole my money. But that's neither here nor there.
Oh, boy.
Sons of bitches. But yeah.
On that note.
Yeah. Came back from the dead.
Before this gets way off the rails, appreciate all of you for rocking with us. Any questions you have, you can drop them in the Discord. Like I said, we'll also be dropping some other bets between tonight and tomorrow, and then also throughout the day as well. It's a pretty active community over there, a lot of fun. So, like I said before, absolutely free, no paywall, not trying to sucker you in or anything like that. So you can join in the link in the description. If you have yet to do so, please hit us with a sub and a like as well. It goes a long way, and we really do appreciate it. Good luck to all of you this weekend, and join us again next week.